Welcome to episode 41 of the official podcast for Guardian 1, a Destiny group dedicated to the prosperity of Guardians everywhere. We broadcast live Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian 1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I am joined by River.
What's up? I bet you missed me.
I bet we did. Crimson Warlock.
Yeah.
I didn't know Scrooge McDuck was in this game.
Jez. Jez?
I double muted, sorry. Good morning.
And Agrios.
Greetings, Guardians.
We are going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening in on the podcast, however it is that you choose to listen. If you're new to the podcast, I am SDF River. This is the portion where I talk for about 2 minutes. Make sure you follow Guardian 1 on Twitter at G1Net. That's G1NET. And just a reminder, we only use the number 1 whenever we refer to Guardian 1 in its shortened form. So again, that's G, the number 1, NET. In addition, be sure to check out the Guardian 1 website at guardian1.net. And you can also send us feedback to our email, feedback@guardian1.net. There's also a Bungie.net forums group for Guardian 1 that's currently at 142 members. And if you want to join, just search for the group name Guardian 1. Guardian 1 has its own clan as well, so if you want to join that, just press the buttons that say set as PlayStation Clan or set as Xbox Clan after you join the group. We utilize the forums for comments and feedback, so be sure to join the conversations going on there. A big thank you to all those currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1 Network. We broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. And if you can't catch the show live, you can always go to the Guardian 1 YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1 Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network, so be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all the different podcasts that's part of the network, including TTL Party Chat, Aim Assist Gaming. Man, I actually lost my place. Let me start back a little bit. Guardian Radio, the flagship podcast. They broadcast every Monday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at Guardians of D and their YouTube channel, youtube.com/Guardian Radio. In addition, you can also check out the Grimoire that's in audio form made by Craig Hardgrove and Bentrick, and that's called Ghosts and Echoes. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We got a lot of stuff to cover. We got a short time to do it. We're going to do things that they say can't be done. Let's do it. I think that what we'll do is we'll just have Agrios read the news, and then we'll just, decide which rabbit holes are important to us as we hit them, and this way we can really maximize the time that we have in front of us. So, Agrios, take it away.
Well, the first thing we have to talk about is the House of Wolves launch this week. It came to us with update 1.2.0.1, and with that came a slew of changes that we've been talking about, and some ones we didn't necessarily expect. For PvP, they added a new daily reward package upon completion of the first game in the daily featured Crucible playlist. They added passage coins to the reward streams across all playlists, including the daily reward package. They increased Crucible Mark drop rate across all playlists by 100%. They increased Crucible reputation earnings across all playlists by 20%. They increased rare weapons and gear drop chance for completing games across all playlists by 100%. They added legendary weapon drops to the Crucible reward stream across all playlists. And they added Dark Below maps to the Crucible playlists for all players to enjoy. That includes Pantheon, the Cauldron, and Skyshock. So those will be showing up throughout all of your Crucible matches. For the Iron Banner, they've gone and adjusted the power curve for the Iron Banner playlist to accommodate the competitive range of power in House of Wolves. So they've updated it to accommodate the new levels that players are obtaining in the new weapon stats. Across the Iron Banner event, players competing in Iron Banner with more than one character on the same account will receive a reputation boost for the lower ranked characters to reach parity with the higher ranked characters more quickly.
That's awesome.
What this means is, yeah, this is excellent. For what this means is, once you get one of your characters ranked up, any characters that haven't got as far as that character yet are going to receive a reputation boost. So this facilitates hopping around and getting your characters ranked up gradually throughout the week rather than doing one at a time. If you really want to hit your max benefits. They've added 6 additional Iron Banner bounties that have been they've been added to the bounty rotation now, so it won't always be the same set every single day. They removed an errant buff from the Iron Banner control playlist. I wasn't really familiar with that exactly, and I meant to look into it. Are any of you familiar with what exactly that is? And the last thing on the list before we get into it, I guess, is the Etheric Light will now be available at ranks 3 and 5 in the Iron Banner.
What does that mean, available at ranks 3 and 5?
Well, it's unclear exactly. From what I understand, that they've from different comments from the Bungie staff, that it seems as though there's a chance to get it when you hit rank 3 and rank 5, almost like a package reward. It may be a guaranteed drop at each of those two, but I haven't seen anything concrete either way.
See, my thinking makes it more along the lines of like the bounties, you could only buy them that once a week or something like that. So once you hit rank 3, there's an etheric light that you can buy. And then when you buy it, it's gone. And then when you hit rank 5, you can buy the second one.
You
That's
can.
right.
I would agree with
Well,
Jeff.
Because I think there has been people that's found that it's something that's purchased, not like a drop.
Interesting, and that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. But I mean, they're still going to be selling armor, right? There's still going to be like an Iron Banner armor set.
They haven't stated, but I mean, from what I think they said there's a new Iron Banner armor set, isn't there? Or is that speculation data mining that there's a new different Iron Banner armor set now?
I think that was just data mining, or it could have been like an update to the icon or something. I'm not sure.
I think it would be cool. I think it would be really cool because,
Season 2.
well, yeah, exactly. Think about it. Like you are wearing first season armor from that Iron Banner. I think that's part of something that I really like about Destiny. Like I still have my original Titan armor. Both the whites and the first legendary gear that I have, and the idea of upgrading that and then showing this off to people who don't have it. And I didn't really like it at first, which is funny because now that I have it and it's no longer available, I don't know, it's crazy.
I think technically this next one will be like season 3, but it'll be the second season that they've actually kind of hammered down what they want to do with the Iron Banner.
Yeah, I'll definitely go along with that. It's like they threw out the first one or two just to see what people were going to do with it, and then they decided to go from there, which just really seems like what Destiny has been. And if I'm thinking about this correctly, I think that this is what Destiny has been from the very beginning. I feel like when we see something like the Red Hand 9, I feel like there was a Red Hand before that. Like 3 years before Destiny came out, they were still playing this game. So what were they playing with? Like, I think that what we're looking at here is what Destiny has been since long before it came out. Like, it's just iteration after iteration, but at this point they need to keep our data. Like, they need to keep our data going. They can't just wipe everybody's to start new. And now we're starting to see people collecting things. I mean, we're only a handful of months away from the launch. It's only been out for so long, and we're already seeing older pieces of gear. I don't know, but yeah, I think that's what it's been the whole time. Agrios?
Continuing or asking me?
Either.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure if we were wrapped up on everyone else. I was listening and I was reading what I was doing next there, so I wasn't sure if we were done talking to everyone else there yet. But yeah, I'm excited about being a collector, as you know, and I like the interesting having interesting gear that you can't get anymore, so that everyone doesn't look alike. But then again, there's also a downside to that, as in like some of the ways they've changed the weapons coming up here. Certain perks are no longer available, certain rules are no longer available. And I got to question how that necessarily affects the Crucible environment. For instance, I've wanted a full auto 3 little words pulse rifle to be for the Crucible, and I know several people that have a really nice full auto roll on that gun, but they've removed the full auto perk from rolling on pulse rifles now, so
Wow.
you're able to get another one like that ever again. I mean, unless they go and update things and change them once again to make them available again. Those people that already have that will have that to use in Crucible, and no one else has the opportunity to obtain something like that. So I kind of question certain things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? To be honest, there is no room for collectors. There is no room for pack rats. I took the chainsaw to my inventory over the last couple of days. Just anything that didn't meet a certain criteria, like some of these things, like I have to keep, like Dr. Nope, is as horrible of a weapon as it is, such low impact. It was my first legendary, and it has Third Eye and Hammer Forged and Outlaw. Like it's not a bad roll on that weapon. It's just not a great weapon, but I can't get rid of it. But I chopped almost all of my blues out. Like I used to save a set of knight armor, because some of that knight armor looks really cool, and I just had such an influx of stuff, and I feel like unless they reduce the amount of engrams being kicked out now, because it's nuts, there's just more stuff to come. Like I unlocked, what was it? It was 24. I unlocked 24 packages over both systems, and I just got so much gear and so much new weapons, and just some stuff had to go. And so yeah, there's no room for us collectors. Like I can't wait until we have some way of holding on to stuff without it being a big deal. Like I haven't yet gotten rid of my manifold seeker. It just looks too cool, but it's taken up space, and it's what's next to go on my list. Have you guys had to hack anything out? I know, River, you got plenty of space, but Warlock, Jez, have you guys had to make room for stuff?
Yeah, I
since
deleted most of my Gilgamesh shaders.
Most of them? You had more than one?
Apparently, they keep floating around.
That sounded like it was hard to part with. Crimson?
Yeah, for me, honestly, since the vault space and your inventory space was always so limited, I have been trying to keep to a minimum of everything. And about the only thing that I'm really keeping right now that I've had for a while is a what's it called? A shadow price for the Crucible. I've got one and I'm leveling it up, and I've had it for a while, and that's about the only like legendary from year one kind of that I'm really attached to and want to keep. But everything else, I'm just like, no, I can part with this. I can part with this. So that's kind of where I'm at. Is I've been trying to keep my gear to a minimum, just because you can't really be a collector in this game. And while there's a lot of cool blues, like there's just really no place in them practically.
Totally.
So yeah.
I wish there was a place where we just had access to them, just to, like a way, like a Grimoire card. I picked up this card, I picked up this weapon or this piece of gear. I want to be able to access that information. Some of these things I haven't thrown away are because I really, really liked the flavor text. Like the flavor text, told a story. Like that, I tweeted about there was one on, I can't remember the name of the helmet, and I've deleted it because I didn't really need it, but it was talking about how a story holds that Saint 14 caved a fallen Kel's head in with one bash of his own. Like that's cool. That's cool. That makes me want to push forward and play the game more and find out more. Share this piece of information,
The sad thing is that flavor text is almost its own grimoire, like when we don't get to see that, we don't get to look at that in any way, but there's so much storytelling through the flavor text of some of the gear if you read it, and it's kind of sad that there isn't a library of such that has all of it.
Right. Absolutely.
Wait, there isn't? What, like the database, the Destiny database.com or something like that?
I guess if I wanted to go there and check them off manually to show that I've had them, but what's going to stop me from just making it up?
I found one.
References.
It's not like super detailed because I think it's missing the old world exotics. But I found one has all the raid legendaries as well as the new expansions exotics, and that's pretty close to what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And it seems to be persisting even though there's like no account that you save. I don't know how. It's probably just cookies, but I don't know how much I would trust they keep track of it. But that's kind of something that I would like, a checklist basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Anyone else, or moving on? Alrighty then.
Moving on. Excuse me. So other new changes have come to the rest of the game besides just PvE. Newly acquired faction reward packages will no longer produce shards. Thank God. This feature will exchange ascendant and radiant materials for glimmer and motes of light. Thank God. Xur will exchange strange coins for motes of light. Awesome too. Commendations are no longer required to purchase gear. Commendations can be converted to receive 250 gains in Vanguard, Crucible, or faction reputation. The Cryptarch will no longer convert newly acquired legendary engrams to shards. Possibilities include gear, weapons, or exotics. Thank God. Expansion. It's the worst thing to get so excited about one of those popping in combat and then to turn it in only to get 2 ascendant energy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Expansion 2 featured daily heroic activities will produce motes of light in lieu of shards. So if I understand that correctly, that means whenever they use the story missions from House of Wolves as the daily story mission, instead of shards, they will produce motes of light. But all of the old ones that aren't Expansion 2 will still produce shards. Is that correct? Am I understanding that correctly?
That's a good question. Sounds good to me.
Well, a lot of people have been reporting that the dailies have been giving them shards, so possibly, because I was like, well, I thought that changed, so I will just have to wait and see for a daily to be part of the House of Wolves and see what it rewards.
Right. If I understand it correctly, that's what's going on, is that the old ones, because Guardians coming up through like the Vault of Glass and stuff, you still need some shards in order to finish powering up those older armors even after you ascend them. So, ascending a year 1 legendary and exotic gear can be ascending year 1 legendary and exotic gear can be upgraded to the highest possible power levels available in year 1. So that also it makes it pretty clear that we're not going to get any higher power levels before the end of year 1.
That's not true. I don't see that. I don't see that being the thing. Like this could just be what year 1 looks like right now. Like next expansion, that text can say the same exact stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
No, I don't know what you're saying.
But I believe year 1 ends in September. So the way this is phrased, it says the highest power levels available in year 1. If they hold to that statement, that means they're not going to raise the power levels of the weapons before September.
That's right.
Which is well within reason, considering it's
Yes, very well
May.
within reason. Yeah.
It's May already.
But I was more pointing out the year 1 reference, that we're certainly not going to get the next huge change to these sort of things before that mark, is at least the way I would take this.
Yes.
They're kind of making that clear. Then I'm not entirely sure what this means exactly, but the control UI above the mini scoreboard has been fixed and returned to the player's HUD. You know what exactly that's referring to?
No idea.
No
Nope.
idea either.
What was
I'm
it again?
thinking like the scoreboard when you hold out your ghost in a control match. I think it used to show the score of the teams, and they just made it so it shows up shows up down in the corner like it always does when you're not.
Oh,
Actually.
right. Yep. That's exactly what it is. In the Crucible matches, yeah, they did. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah. And then the last bit of information they updated, and this is pretty exciting, and I can't wait for this to spread to other areas, but they added the new connection recovery system. The specific player networking problems will now be fixed instead of kicking affected players to orbit, and it's going to be enabled first for the Trials of Osiris and rolled out to other activities over time. Aside from the Trials of Osiris, I feel like this is going to be really important for the Prison of Elders if they can get that rolled out soon, because we've already heard reports of players getting kicked to orbit during the later rounds of a Prison of Elders and then being unable to rejoin the match and finish the battle and get their rewards that they had worked so long and hard into the battle to get at that point.
You can rejoin, but it's just convoluted timing because it has to be during the countdown to death.
Interesting.
Oh,
That's
so
very
there's a way
interesting.
around that. I gotcha.
Yeah, there's a way around it, but it doesn't make it's not intuitive.
Right, and also I don't know that that's. I mean, was that even intentional by Bungie, or is that just a lucky coincidence that works?
I think they're trying to. I think Bungie's trying something, and it just is not working properly. I think they're trying to make it so that new people can't join, so you can't like do it mostly and then pull in someone for the last bit. But
Right, well, I
also,
can understand that, but then you run into the problems where their own systems are working against them because then they get kicked to the orbit, and the people who deserve to get it. There's also been reports of players dying during the boss kill. Like at the moment the boss dies, they die because they went in tight and slammed the boss, and the boss killed them, and they killed the boss. And it not doing the auto revive that's typical right when the boss is killed. And if someone doesn't revive them right away and runs to the treasure room or gets teleported to the treasure room, at no point do they actually get revived and end up missing out on their treasure. They can't even leave and rejoin to fix the problem.
Crazy.
yeah, because it's probably like when you're doing a countdown, there's a bug that you can't revive someone. That I'm assuming that they're still looking into fixing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you finish an instance and someone's dead, and you just hold to revive, and it just fills up and nothing happens. It's probably the same thing.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks bad.
In this, it really matters because you don't actually get your rewards just like at the end of the event. Like most of the other things, like you get the rewards. There's no choice. You just are given them. In the Prison of Elders, if you don't make it to the chest, you're going to miss out on a majority of your good stuff from that run.
Man, that's almost like when your inventory is full up on special synthesis and you can't delete it. What's going on?
Oh yeah, that's another fiasco too. The special synths that are overwhelming everyone's inventory.
Yeah, what a horrible thing to have to deal with. But you know what?
I was going to say that.
I almost think like I don't know. I didn't even notice that you couldn't delete it before I wanted to. Did anyone else notice that you couldn't delete it?
No,
Because I didn't. I always wanted it. I'm like, oh, I will purchase this special ammo synthesis for those occasions when I really just need to pull it out. And now I've got too much, and I don't know. I've actually been really good about just burning one as soon as I land, and then checking on it a couple of minutes later. I've actually just been kicking them out. Do it, moving on. Do it, moving on. But horrible. They need to be able to. What's that?
No, I was going to say save at least 50. Save at least 50 for your next invective exotic
They're
bounty.
just trying to flood the world with invectives. That's all.
I was thinking what it was is this was their way of saying, like we were talking about, goodbye to your ability to load up on icebreaker rounds and then switch to another special. I figured that's what that was all about.
I think they didn't calculate people getting every chest 4 and 5 times, but I mean, even if you're not getting each chest several times, it's still going to build up when you farm. I mean, being how valuable these treasure keys are, and that's the only repeatable way to likely get them. I mean, it just was going to definitely get out of hand pretty quickly. I was fortunate enough to learn to keep my consumables full early on, and I haven't run into a problem with it.
Yeah, once you spelled out to have one of each of those the things you turn into the Cryptarch. Once you told me to have each of those, so I could continue to pick those up and then have the rest of it filled out. It's been clear sailing. You know, what's really strange though is I've never once gotten a key from a second pickup of a chest. All of the keys I've got like 6.
I've actually seen someone get two keys from the same chest, K-Dub, in fact.
Okay, so one on the one and then one on another. That's cool. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. So that's good to know that that's out there.
I've only seen one key.
Did you turn it in?
Oh yeah, I totally turned it in. But
What'd
I
you
got
get?
it from Varric's. Oh, the Mida.
Oh, that's sad.
I've farmed a few treasure chests, and I have yet to get a key from those things.
It's rough.
Yeah, it's pretty tough, man.
It's rough. I mean, it is fun, and I've heard a lot of people talking about like this maybe wasn't the sparrow racing that we were wanting to be in Destiny, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, we definitely got a little bit of that. I was commenting to Sharks that how much more competent I felt on my sparrow after the past week.
That's funny. That's funny. I do a lot of speeding around and practicing, like trying to go up the side of walls for tight turns, because I'm ready. I'm ready for a Sparrow Racing League. Like if you were to look at my history, if you were to look at my game history for Halo 3 and Halo Reach, I spent a good portion of time in Rocket Race because it was fun. Because it was fun. Man, I love Rocket Race. River, did you ever Rocket Race?
Oh, dude, that was my jam. It was me and SDF Lawn Boy, and I'm a really great Warthog driver, so I was always the driver, and he was always on the back.
I'm always the
for that
driver as
part.
well. I'm way the driver as well.
And Mongoose, too. I'm just a great Halo driver.
Yeah.
And we just sit fools down all the time. It's great.
That's-
Anyways, podcast.
That's really cool. Well, I don't know. I really want to see something like that in Destiny. Like, I don't know.
We'll wait till Destiny 3 or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Destiny 2, hopefully.
When they have multi-person vehicles.
Well,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
when they have something fun like that, like I don't want to nail it to multi-person vehicles because I don't think that's the only thing that could fill that spot. But that would definitely fill that spot. So I don't know. It's been really cool. Patrols have been crazy now. I went to go get that guy in Skywatch, and during that thing, I had to defend this war sat, and during that thing, Urzog the Hated showed up, and it was crazy. Like it was actually like I can't even imagine being an under level 20 Guardian trying to get my stuff, like trying to get my regular missions done with all of this craziness going on. Like this is the way the game should have started with us.
I agree.
People having to sneak around. A level 5 Guardian. I need to get through here.
I'm almost envious of a Guardian starting right now, to be honest, because of it. Because you've heard me talk before about how I want overpowered challenges to be just in the ether for me to wander into, before I can even get to that level. And I mean, it really is for the starting players now.
Yeah. It must look crazy to the starting players. Anybody who started after House of Wolves, man.
Just load up all your special synth on a character, delete it, and start over. Then you kill two birds with one stone, right?
Man, that's really good thinking. Too bad all of my characters have way too much time put into them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess if special ammo synthesis starts becoming like tribbles, then that's what like that is what will end up happening. But yeah,
Do you scream when you pick them up?
they're like guinea pigs, exactly. I wonder how long it's going to take them to add a delete option to that. I mean, that's got to be on their minds at this point, right? Does anybody here think that they're not going to be adding that in, or do you think that they're just here you go?
it to where it's at. Like I just can't figure how when they were testing this didn't all of a sudden become a huge issue, unless the testers weren't using like static characters that they had inventory that they build up over time on, like
Yeah, I think this
being
is
that
kind
this
of
is
an
the key
oops.
place to get keys, no pun intended.
Yeah, I think it's an oops that'll be fixed hopefully quickly.
And I wonder how long they've even thought about it, or if it was just, hey, we've put out this House of Wolves and everybody's loving everything, and then Deej is on Twitter and it's like, hey, why can't I delete these? I've got 85 of stacks now, and then he's like, oh, we never put that in. Like this has to have been something that they have known about.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you don't think so?
No, I really don't.
You think it could because so what you're saying is it surprised them like it surprised me? I'm like, oh, I guess I can't delete these.
Yeah, it's probably one of those things.
Oh man, that's so funny.
We've been playing. I mean, they've been playing it longer than we have, but
totally.
If this situation never came up, I never probably would have even missed it. Never would have even thought about it 10 years from now.
Well, something that actually makes me think that I think I even know how they could have accidentally missed it. There was some miscommunication with the Prison of Elders reveal. At some point, Deej had said that when you killed the boss each week, he would drop a key for you. Or when you killed the boss, he would drop a key for you that you could use in the chest. And that's the way it worked for the people the testers who had gone. Every time they killed one of the bosses, they got a treasure key for sure. Well, if this is the way they set up their system for testing these things, then no one ever actually needed to farm any extra keys because they got one every time they ran the Prison of Elders. So there was never an opportunity for someone to go farming keys so long that they build up special ammo they didn't know what to do with. I mean, it's all speculation, but putting all those stories together kind of starts to make sense.
Okay, so Nitro City or Nitrocity, I don't know how you say that, says, do you guys think Bungie found a hidden gem with these public events? And then, River says, yes, they did. And I feel like the loot cave, I think that this is what loot cave has transformed into. Is they needed a way they needed something that they could put out to the public that everybody would stop what they were doing in that area for a chance to gain something cool. Here's 2 blue engrams. Here's the possibility of a purple engram. Here's the possibility of this magic key that will get you some really sweet stuff, even at level 28 Prison of Elders. Like this is what they've done with that data. Like they've taken this, like you're saying, everybody working towards one goal, and I have to say that it is amazingly fun. It is the next step up as far as I'm concerned with how they're adding player interactivity. It's so much fun working with other random people to take those down, or even trying. Like one time I ran a public event with one other dude and also the wolves, and we both helped each other out. It was really a cool moment. But what do you think about these new wolf public events, River?
Like you were saying, it is kind of like the next coming of the loot cave, but there's some vast differences, I feel, between this and what the loot cave was. In this aspect, you really have to work in order to get the wolves to come out of their hiding spot. You really got to work in order to actually have them show up. And even then, there's a limit to how many times they'll show up in that area before you have to you got to move elsewhere. I'm not sure if that has to do with you leaving the area and coming back. But I ran into that, actually. I was farming some chests out there, and I think they appeared like 3 times, and then they were like, man, River, you're too badass. We don't want to do this anymore.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of them taking you out of a corner and putting you, making you go out and chase something. You know what? And it's funny that you say that, because I never even thought to just wait in the same place for the same wolves to show up. Once I'm done with one wolf, I always try and move on to another wolf. And even if I was to come back to that area I was just in, it wouldn't be the same instance. So I've never even run into that. That's crazy.
Actually,
So what is that?
when you go next door to an instance on a planet, you almost always, if you go back to only one instance back, you almost always enter the same exact instance. It's almost like 3 instances are loaded at once. The one you're in, the one in front of you, and the one in back of you. And as long as you don't go if you don't go 2 away from it, it seems that you always go back to the same instance.
That's a good point, because whenever you're doing the multiple chest glitch, basically, you'll still wear out the wolves whenever you come back into your same instance. So yeah, you make a good point with that.
Now, the way the ones work on Venus, for instance, and I suspect this is the way they are on every planet, is that all of the wolves in all of the areas that they come on that planet, they come at close to the same time. The way it works on Venus, for instance, where I've done most of my farming, is if you start in the Ember Caves, they'll come into the Ember Caves every approximately 11 minutes. They'll come to the Citadel approximately 2 minutes after they come to the Ember Caves. So you can actually wait in Ember Caves, do the one in the Ember Caves. If you and your team beat it quick enough, you can run next door to the Citadel and find a team just about to finish up with the Citadel one. Like clockwork, almost every 11 minutes.
I've tried to run back and forth like that. And one time I saw, it was like, oh, there's wolves on the prowl, and I ran back to get my other key, and I came back, and I wasn't, like, I feel like oftentimes I will get the same one, but I really feel like it's 50-50 percentage, like there will be people still farming in those areas, and I won't all the time see them. Like, it's really, for me, it's 50-50, the amount of times I get put back in the same instance that I was just in. I wonder if that has to do with how many people are online, or I would like to know what the parameters are.
Like if, for instance, from the other direction, enough Guardians came into that zone to hit the zone limit quota. When you would try to load into the zone again, it's going to force you into your own brand new zone or something like that, because they've hit a cap. So it's possible like that to get forced out, I imagine. I find it many times, like almost always, if I'm only one zone away, it'll work for me to go back into the same zone. In fact, I've been trying to farm things, and someone's been making farming difficult because of where they're standing, and I found it difficult to get far enough away from the zone to go back, and they're gone for me. So I've actually had the opposite problem.
Crazy.
The people that are really annoying are the ones that put scorch cannons in front of the chest.
Oh, so you have to pick up the scorch cannon before you can pick up the chest. Yeah. Sucks.
Right, and people who park their sparrows in front of the chest.
Yeah.
So annoying. I just want to say, the House of Wolves event, to me, feel like Bungie trying to deliver on a promise that they made about having, Guardians everywhere doing these different social events all the time. Like, that was something that they kind of promoted the game on when they did their E3 reveal, and I think this is them trying their best to really deliver on that promise, and I think it's working really well for them.
I agree.
I think the most funny part is the fact that most people farm Skywatch again.
Yeah. Well, it's the best place
it's the
to
most
sell
fun. It's the most fun.
Yeah.
Well,
it's the
then
most.
You also have enemies moving against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's really crazy. It's really hectic, and that is a lot of fun, which is part of the thing that I think is really sweet about Prison of Elders as well. Like it's pretty hectic. I've only done it on 28. I did it on 28 once with Sharks and Agrios, and I did it once with my dad and my son. And I got sweet loot both times. So I want to understand something. So when one person opens that big chest with a key, everybody gets something?
No.
Because I feel like once that person has opened that chest, I feel like I got something too, but that's not the case.
No, it is. Here's what happens. When the chest is opened, the words from the Prison of Elders run itself is when you approach that chest. When you get to the treasure room and approach that chest, the awards from the Prison of Elders itself are awarded to everybody at that point in time, too.
Okay, I did not understand that. I did not understand that there was a set of rewards just for running it. That's cool. That's really cool.
And that only comes once per week. So the chest is the repeatable part, but that awards you get approaching the chest, that's the once per week lockout part.
Okay, and that's even on the lowest setting?
No, that's at level 28. The level 28 is like a rock strike.
A really sweet rock strike. I got
Right,
some
but
I
you
got
can-
some really
you can-
cool stuff out of that chest being open. So what if nobody has a key?
Then nobody opens that chest or gets
So
that
then
chest.
the mission just doesn't end? Nobody gets any
No,
rewards?
the mission's end. That chest has nothing to do with it. You just have to approach the chest. When someone walks up to the chest, everybody will get the rewards from the Prison of Elders that they have to get.
You know,
still
maybe
can open the little chest too.
and that would set off the end game rewards?
Well, just being
Right.
close
It's
enough
a
to do
zone.
that.
It's a proximity thing. When the first person walks up to that chest, you get the rewards from the Prison of Elders.
Got it.
And then if anybody has keys, you open the chest. Now, when you open the chest, it also starts a timer. So make sure that your group is still not up top, running around, taking pictures, and that they're going to make it to their chest to pop their key before the timer ends.
Yeah. You know what I wish there was? I wish there was a way of knowing what was happening in the next zone over. Like you know, when there's a public event happening in Moth Yards and you're in the steps and you think to yourself, do I go to Divide or do I go to Moth Yards? Like, it would be really cool to see, you know, like the darkness starting to roll over on that horizon over there. Like, that way you would know, like, this would call in people from other areas. Like, if indeed what you're saying is true, Agrios, where they have, you know, some kind of 3 zones ready to go, so no matter which direction you go, that is the direction that has already been loaded for you.
No, I've actually had something kind of like this. I've experienced, like, if you're leaving a zone as a public event starts, like, I've gone into the next zone and had it go dark and tell me something's on its way, and then I look around, I'm like, oh, there's nothing in this zone. I turn it back and go to the one I just left, and that's where it actually is.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that happening to us. That was at the Citadel. Yeah, that was crazy. All right, so let's see. So what all we got? You know, we're 10 minutes from 9 o'clock.
Well, I got lots to go yet here, so we should plow forward.
Let's do it.
Okay. So going into the weekly update this week, they talk about some of the things that we've had to start off the House of Wolves here. The Queen paid out 11 billion glimmer on day 1.
That's impressive,
That's a lot of glimmer.
right? She definitely doesn't have the 25,000 glimmer cap that we do.
Yeah, seriously.
Are they talking about those crystals that's given out during the story missions? You know what I'm talking about?
I would imagine they were tallying up all the glimmer paid out by the Queen, and so I would say that was probably include those as well as like the glimmer from the chests in the Prison of Elders, maybe stuff like that. I don't know what all they would tally for that, but I would imagine they would add that stuff up. I mean, that's a lot of glimmer.
Well, those crystals are a lot of glimmer in themselves.
They're like
Yes.
5,000, right? At least
Well,
one.
I
The first
think-
one was 2,500. The second one was
Yeah.
5,000. Then on from there.
Yeah, it's enough that now I have these things that do not stack, and I cannot turn them in because I'm glimmer capped.
Oh, womp womp. That's such a bad thing to have.
Well, it is when they're taking up an entire space on themselves.
A River is not sympathetic to your
I am not.
to you, Jez.
You gotta
I
go like
mean-
buy Mode to Light or something.
Hey,
yeah,
River,
like
wanna know
go
how to solve
convert or
your
something.
problems? Want to know your problems? Or how
Let's
to
hear
solve
it.
your problems?
Buy
Roll
PS4.
a third character.
I have 3.
Oh,
There.
you have 3 characters, River?
Yeah, of course I do.
When did this happen?
No, it's been like that for a while. It's not like they're high level though. I mean, I got a Titan that's level 29, and I got a Warlock level, I don't know, 9.
Got it. I think you'd really like the Warlock.
So far, yeah, it is actually kind of cool.
Really, each of them is cool. Each of them
Mhm.
is cool, and I don't know. I'm really glad that I play one of each. Well, actually, I'm really glad that I play 2 of each because I don't know, it changes the way you think about engaging. Like the additional, the added mobility also changes the way you end up looking at the map. You know, like the Titan has no boundaries. I'll just zip right up the side of a cliff. You know, and the Warlock covers a massive amount of ground, and the Hunter is kind of like, I don't know, like Super Mario. A lot of fun. I wish I could have been there for that conversation too. Like, there's just so many stories that Destiny holds. You know, like we should have somebody on the show that has the answers to these questions. Like, well, what was it like? Like, what were the first two that came up? You know, and how far do these go back? Because I almost feel like Destiny began as this medieval swords and shields and wizards. You know, and
It did.
and so like how much made it through that they weren't thinking that was going to make it through? Like, what did they erase and then come back to because it was a great idea to begin with? I don't know. There's just so much to know.
Pretty sure all three classes are based in the medieval setting, because obviously there's the knight, the warlock, and then the rogue.
Mm-hmm.
They just reflavored them for the future.
That's right.
Well, there it is.
Agreed.
I mean, I remember seeing those concept art, and I remember them talking about it. And actually, it was that made me lose interest. Like in a long time ago years, I remember them talking, like showing some concept art or something, and it revolved around a medieval setting. And I just said, I don't know. I'm really more interested in spaceships, and it turns out that they are too. I'd love to talk to people about that turning point. Like, what did that look like?
See,
You know, the
I
whole team.
want them to take an actual step back and make another set of gear that looks more like a knight's armor or a warlock's hood or a rogue, like just more like the original medieval setting, but still a little bit future.
Yeah, that would be cool too. I wonder what that would look like. I bet they have it.
It's probably planned. Just no idea when.
All right, Agrios. Moving on.
The Cryptarchs were busy as well. They redeemed over 105 million engrams. That's a lot of disappointed Guardians.
I wonder if they're going to tone that back. Like, does anyone feel like it's a large amount of blue engrams? Like, I can fill up my entire inventory and my little boxes, my lost items, so quick, you know, just by zipping around and doing these things. Or do you think that they're just going to fix the drop?
I don't think they're going to do anything.
Oh, you think it's just going to stay that way, Agrios?
I think they did this to eliminate the people complaining about needing class materials and new Guardians coming in and trying to catch up to 34 so quick, and then just being at this wall where they can't continue to have any fun because they have to farm blue engrams for an eternity to get enough plat steel plating to level up all the gear they want leveled up.
Totally.
And although the new pieces don't have that on it, like if you started just before this came out, you probably have a lot of gear that I know even me, I've been playing since the beginning and I have a ton of hours in. My Warlock has ridiculous amount of extra class materials, but my Titan and my Hunter, I exhausted myself this week.
Yeah, I did too.
Completely.
I did too. In the 2 weeks leading up to it, I was playing constantly so I could rank up all of those factions, and then just this whole week, like even just opening up the packages took so long. It took so long and so much, and I still haven't done. I haven't even gotten, I've got one key from one of my characters from doing those missions. That's it. I don't know. It's been a rough week. And you, River, were saying that you think that they're going to fix it so that you can't just return back to the same area and loot the same chest.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is in itself an exploit that they probably didn't think about, and I foresee that that's going to get fixed eventually.
Well,
it's probably not high on their list, but I think it'll be fixed eventually.
I think people like it too much now. I think people like it because it's the Sparrow Racing League. If they patch it, there goes the Sparrow, that Sparrow racing that everybody's having fun with right now. And
They also
I,
like the
I
loot
find
cave.
it hard to believe they wouldn't know it would happen because, I mean, it was already known exploit that people were using to farm planet materials and planet chests since way back in the day. So, I mean, they were aware. It's been on Reddit. We know they follow Reddit, and it's been high on the list on Reddit that it was possible to do. And, I mean, these chests aren't any different.
It does throw in that high tension race at the end. It's like, am I gonna make it? Am I gonna get that last loot?
It
There
is
is
like,
a 1 minute timer. You make a good.
Yeah.
I also think it. I mean, since it is kind of reducing the grind, it's making the game a lot more fun to have multiple characters. You know, it's like I hated playing on anything but my warlock since that was my main because I'm like I can't progress this character unless I put in like another 30 hours of rock strike to get engrams fairly fast and level this person up. And so yeah, I think what they're doing is smart, and I kind of hope they don't do it because it does kind of make the game more fun because you feel like you can progress your characters much faster.
well, I guess the answer was what River said, I think. If you're asking what are they going to do about it, I think what they've already done what they're going to do about it, and they put a timer on the ether key. I don't think that's just for your hunt for the chest, because they knew everyone was going to learn where the chests are fairly quickly. That was to prevent how many times you could leave and come back and actually get the chest. I think that was probably their direct answer to that.
Man, that was so frustrating. That was a frustrating amount of hours not knowing where that thing was going to show up. And that's actually what pushed me to do multiple runs on the same chest. Was that, you know, like some of those times I did what was asked of me. I mopped up those wolves, and then I couldn't find the chest, and I didn't get anything for it. So by the time I started, really finding out where they were, I was already, you know, I have to go back and get this one because the next one I might not find, you know?
So have you guys, I've experienced this twice in the Ember Caves now. With the Ember Caves chest that is up by the cave that goes towards the cinders, towards the
Yes.
strike, I have left that area going back to the Ishtar cliffs and come back, and the chest isn't there, even though I still have like 40 seconds on the timer. So have you guys ever experienced like chests that despawn? Because this has happened to me
No.
twice now.
Nope, I haven't seen that once.
I did, however, go back to an area once, go to another area once again and find an ether chest that had been created by another team of guardians that had beat a different event than I was working on and managed to open that with time on my left on my ether key.
That's crazy. Okay, so I had the opposite. I actually took part in this one, and I didn't get a chance to. Even get a shot on the main guy because I had to hide. There was, you know, I was about to die, and so Guardians are becoming so quick at this that I didn't even get a shot on, and so it was like, oh, you know, somewhere there is a fallen chest. And I went and looked for it, and I found it, and I walked up to it, and it said, oh, you need a key. And I thought, no.
Darth Vader.
Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah. So, I don't know. Very interesting topic conversation. We should probably move on.
So we're talking about all the people that were having fun, you know, farming these keys, and they go on to say that not even the arrival of the Kinderguardians of Christmas could match the numbers that we saw for the opening of wolf hunting season. As of 11 a.m. on the third day of fighting, Skolas had been captured almost 900,000 times and evicted from the prison of elders with extreme prejudice over 9,000 times. According to Bungie user research, the team to successfully complete the level 35 Prison Elders Challenge first included Guardians with the names Shellin 3D, Sweaty Veteran, and Divine Roots. So congrats to them.
You know, I didn't really think that there was a race to that. Like, I don't know. For some reason, I figured that it had already been done. You know, like there was so many people on Twitter talking about, look at all this sweet loot and talking about level 35, and I just figured that it had already been done. This is why I think I'm steering clear of Osiris this weekend. It's because I just got all of my characters to level 32. As a matter of fact, going into House of Wolves, I only had one character at level 32, and that was the Hunter on my Xbox because I didn't know anybody else who could solo the Abyss in Crota's End. So I spent all of that. I spent all those materials to do that. And that's actually the biggest disappointment I have had so far with this House of Wolves is that the only character out of all 6 that I run to receive full light level plus 36 gear was the Hunter that already had level 32. All of these other characters got 1 or 2 pieces of gear from the packages, but the only one that had the full set, and it was New Monarchy. Like, I don't even want to rep New Monarchy.
You do.
You might want to rep New
I
Monarchy.
sure do.
And now, is that because of the way they look, or is that their politics?
Both.
Interesting.
And I like the color red. It's my favorite color.
Awesome. Well, I you know what? I was thinking about conversation, and I was certain that one of you was going to like that New Monarchy. Well, you know what? Why don't I give you that gear because it's pretty sweet. I forgot what it's called. It's like the I don't know, Elector's gear, I think is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if it was. I don't know. So before River gets going, River, I'd like to know what your biggest disappointment has been so far. Like mine is that this 32 level character is getting all this gear, and these other characters that I kept at 30 or 31 because that was all that was needed to run a Nightfall. Was like, what is your biggest disappointment?
My biggest disappointment is not getting a single treasure key. and tied with that, I mean, I got the one treasure key from Varix, but that's it. And the other one that's pretty much tied is I cannot for the life of me get an etheric light at all.
I don't have one either. How do you get one?
Either.
Well, you're the Nightfall and
you're guaranteed to get one from level 35 and level 34 Prison of Elders. Otherwise, you can get one as a random drop from any of the other Prison of Elders or the Nightfall.
Okay.
And what gets me in this case is that we're seeing these folks who are running around level 34 gear already, day one. So RNG was very, very kind to them. They managed to get at least 3 pieces of etheric light, I guess, right?
No, there is one. You can actually get level 34 with no etheric light. You can ascend a exotic, and then you can use armor core and weapons cores to purchase Judgment's Chances and actually get a full set of Prison of Elders gear. So 1 exotic, 3 Prison of Elders gears, no etheric light equals level 34.
So you need 3 armor core and 3 weapon core? No, 3 armor core. So you need 3 armor core?
Yes. Well, no, not 3. You get 1 pair of gauntlets from it already. So you would need 2 weapon cores or 2 armor cores and get lucky enough to not get gauntlets on either one of those and not get
more RNG.
One of those, because you could get a weapon. You could get one of the fallen weapons too.
Here's how you do it with no RNG, because you can, if you do 32, you get an armor core. You buy your arm piece. Then you do level 34, but you'll be at 33 at this point. You can do level 34, get 1 etheric light and a weapon core, which is useless. Then if you have an alt, you can go get run 32 and 34 again, and there's your second etheric light. Move it over to main, now you're 34.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
That's the wall I'm at right now, basically.
And another tip, while we're talking about doing these sorts of things, is if you haven't run all your characters through everything yet, you can actually get your armor core on your first character by, defeating the level 32, Prison of Elders, and then pass that armor core on to your next character and let him buy the gauntlets instead of your original character. And just then when he gets his armor core, pass it to your next character, let him buy the gauntlets, and then you can pass that armor core back to your original character. So that way you can tackle the harder things at level 33 right off the bat on your second and third character.
Interesting.
Well, I should do some leveling up then.
Agreed. I'm excited that you're running multiple characters. I don't know when I thought that you didn't. I mean, besides 20 minutes ago.
It's still pretty tough. I mean, I
To be
hadn't even touched the
honest-
other ones in a while.
You're probably gonna do fairly well when it comes to Trials of Osiris, and all you need is 5 wins, or technically 3 wins.
Really?
No,
Well,
no, you only you need 4 wins before you get 4 losses to get the chess piece.
No, you can buy the one that gives you a win if you get a win, and you can buy the one that automatically starts you with a win.
Oh yeah. So you only need to get 3 wins before you get 4 losses.
Exactly. And then you have
I'm-
5 wins on your card, and you can buy the chess piece.
Right. So yeah,
Oh,
if you get 3 wins before you get 4 losses, you get your chess piece from Trials. Yeah. So chess piece plus the gauntlets from the Prison of Elders plus an exotic means you only need 1 etheric light to get that character to 34.
Cool.
Well, I think House of Wolves knows that I want to try out the trials because I got 7 passage coins already.
Awesome.
And I'm pretty sure it's much easier to get your etheric lights from random drops in Trials of Osiris.
Okay, and I already bought my passage, and I think I'm able to get another one.
Can I ask you a question? Where
Hmm?
is the passage located at in your missions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I was
Yes.
actually, that's why I haven't bought one yet, is because I don't want it stuffing up
Well,
my already overstuffed
See,
inventory.
I was curious just because I was thinking, well, if it was any other thing, you could just pass it off to another character.
Yeah. Nope. It's
Nope.
it's in your missions, so
Good.
you can't move it.
And you also can't fill up your spaces with garbage with it. So that's good.
Yeah, buddy. And also, just an update, real quick. I have 75 motes of light.
Awesome.
Congrats.
This expansion just gives so many.
What is this? Is this after you've already re-rolled a bunch of weapons?
No, I haven't re-rolled anything yet.
Oh my god, it's so much fun. It's so much fun re-rolling
I'm
weapons.
scared, man.
And this this really takes Destiny. Being able to re-roll these weapons takes Destiny into a whole new world. Like there is now a way that any weapon that you drop that has that expansion 2 on it, like it will. Well, I guess it's not any weapon because you can't re-roll the Vestian Dynasty. That's true. But
you can't roll the special named weapons. Like you
Okay.
can't re-roll like the Wolf's Claw that Varix is selling, for instance. So like the raid type weapons, the weapons that always came identical and didn't have rolls in the wild,
yeah,
those are those weapons that you can't re-roll now. Just the same, they don't come with wild rolls out in the open, so you can't re-roll them at the gunsmith.
right. But the one with the ones that you can, it's such an interesting. It's just such an interesting way to look at it because, I will find a shotgun and I will think, well, this shotgun isn't interesting to me. I don't like any of these things. I can change all of those and it will become a different piece of gear. Like I found an amazingly crucible weapon for me in the pest control matrix. It's got Icarus, which is so awesome. Like I'm a very jumpy player in Crucible. Like as soon as I see somebody on the radar, I will try and go above the door. Like I will try and be above where they're expecting me to be so I can get that shot on them first. And that is such a crazy perk. I'm going to ask about that next. Crimson Warlock, what's your biggest letdown in House of Wolves so far?
My biggest letdown in the House of Wolves is not having my fire team that I've been playing Destiny with since launch playing it. Honestly, I haven't been able to do a lot of the content just because I haven't had a fire team that's available when I am. But like item wise, I haven't really played enough to say like I haven't even gotten into the Prison of Elders yet. I loved the strike, so I can't really say I have too many disappointments yet at all. I just haven't experienced enough of the content to be disappointed with any of it.
Well, that's good. That's good. And so these your fire team, who is this and why aren't they not playing with you?
It's Trogdor and Amazing Plankton, who are both part of our clan,
And they
they're just doing other games right now, I guess.
Did they not buy House of Wolves, or are they just off somewhere else?
They're playing other games. They both have the expansion pass. They just haven't decided to jump back into Destiny.
Man,
That
I
is
wonder.
The Witcher 3.
Yeah, Witcher 3.
Is it The Witcher 3?
No, one of them's playing Path of Exiles. The other one's trying to platinum Bloodborne.
Yeah, they have no excuse.
Yeah.
Tell them to stop playing PoE and play PoE.
Exactly.
What about you, Jez? Have you hit a wall where you're disappointed in this House of Wolves?
Hey, real quick, I before he goes, I actually got to get out of here.
Alrighty, well, I guess we will.
No, you guys continue on. I'm just gonna go, and you guys continue on.
So, River, what's your shout out before you go? You gotta do that.
Dang, I honestly hadn't even thought about it. Shout out to Bungie because you guys rock with the House of Wolves. It's a lot of fun, and we want more of that. There's no cutscenes, spoilers, no cutscenes, and I'm kind of disappointed with that. But overall, it is a right direction for Destiny at this point, and I'm very happy with what they gave us.
I agree with everything that you said. Thanks for your time here, and we will see you next week.
Later.
Have a good one. All right, let's see what we got once he goes. So yeah, Jez, what is your biggest letdown so far?
Probably the fact that you look at the gear that Varix is selling, and it's 100% strength gauntlets and an auto rifle. It's like, oh well, I'll just get better gear when Trials of Osiris comes around, and they're selling 100% strength chest piece and an auto rifle. Where's the variation in the first week?
Yeah, it's like they picked the worst possible perk sets they could have possibly come up with to put on that gear that everyone was going to be forced to buy the first week if they wanted to be 34. I really feel like someone somewhere is like, ha ha ha.
Yeah. I don't doubt that at all. I mean, think about it. This is the very first week, and all of the hardcores are going to race right into it. I had to stop myself last night from spending all my marks on the gear that's out because I don't know what Xur's going to be carrying tonight. That's exciting. I'm excited about Xur, for the first time in a long time since he sold. What was it? What was the last thing that he sold that I needed? I think it was Hard Light. Hard Light was the last thing that I needed that he was going to sell. And so I'm really excited about that. But yeah, I feel like all of these people are rushing to get to 34, and what they're getting in return is level 34. They are getting level 34, but instead of getting really sweet gear, that's going to be further down the road. So yeah, you're totally right. Where is I think it was orchestrated. Like, this was done on purpose. It wasn't done to hurt people. It wasn't done to make people mad. It was just, this is what's right out of the gate. I think this is also why they didn't offer the helmet in Iron Banner right away.
Also, something I found really, really silly is I rolled one of my armor cores and my weapon cores for Judgment's Chance, and it gave me a shotgun, and that shotgun does moderate damage to shanks. I don't think they would last a shotgun blast to begin with.
Yep, exactly.
You haven't seen all the shanks out there yet, though. There's going to be this super shank that comes along one day, and you're going to be like, I got the OP shank shotgun, and go flying in and take him out,
I didn't even think about that, yeah.
Can I touch on something that's a little less known? You know that pistol that everyone got at the start of the missions?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It shuts down a lot of abilities. Like, it stops shanks from exploding if they're exploder shanks. It apparently stops bubbles from hobgoblins.
Yeah, it does not set their bubble off.
So
that's crazy.
Quite good.
I read about that this afternoon.
That was on my list of stuff here.
I've actually come across that in the wild using that Vestian Dynasty on those things, and I just figured, at some point they can't pop their shield. They do it, and then there's some kind of recharge time. And I just figured that I kept getting this lucky roll on that recharge time,
Yeah, it's interesting, and not to mention fun to use.
All right, Agrios, what about you? What is your biggest letdown so far?
That I haven't had enough time to play as much as I wanted.
Well, you know what? And that's a great thing to be upset at the game about, because you really, it's all on you.
All on me. I got no real complaints. Vault space. Dear God, give me more vault space.
yeah,
There's my
please.
complaint. You know me. You know I'm a collector.
Please,
And they
please,
presented me
please.
with all this stuff the past couple of days. Dear God, Bungie, give me more vault space. I know you can't do it on last gen, so please just add another vault in the tower when I'm in next gen. When I fly on PS4, there's one little console there. It's not there on last gen. And that's vault space that only exists on next gen. If I put stuff in there and I go and play on PS3, I shouldn't expect to have access to that. If I want access to that, I should have put it in my main vault, so when I got to PS3, I'd have it there. So that's my solution to that. And for the love of God, please give me more vault space.
Yeah.
House of Emblems, am I right?
Yeah, sad. We really do need more vault space.
Getting back to something, I just wanted to get this one out here, but I would love to see a boss that doesn't one hit melee kill you, so you could actually have strength and have it worth something. Have a boss where Crota with the sword, yeah, but something where you need to melee more often, so you want your melee attack up, but the boss can't one-shot you with their melee.
I think what's worse is, like, Crota's fine because he's wielding a sword and he can only hit, like, one or two people in a line, but most of the bosses have this AoE slam that just kills everyone around it.
Yeah.
Which is horrible for anyone, especially if you want to play that backstabby rogue.
Well,
Totally,
it's also frustrating when you're fighting Asgore or anyone else that can blink teleport right on top of you. It's like blink teleport right behind you. You didn't notice that, melee, you're dead. And it's just like
Yep.
that is one thing that's just really frustrating and kind of disappointing that bosses still keep doing that in the game. I guess that's my disappointment.
He likes to teleport right into you and pin you to the cliff too, so you don't even have a chance to jump away.
Yeah. So give us a reason to really have strength. Give us a fight where melee is important, and I'd be happy with that, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this also goes with along with, like you were saying, shotguns, but it also goes along with like wanting to be an up and close and personal Titan, like doing your Fist of Havoc is really hazardous to your health. If the collective group of people or person that you're trying to destroy has more life than you're going to take out of them, like it's almost like, what is this super going to be good for in this situation? It's not, like in that case, the Voidwalker has a distinct advantage over the Titan because the Titan is really throwing himself at the bad guy, whereas the Warlock is throwing a ball of void at the bad guy. So
I would really like to see the stats actually impact the damage. So your strength would reduce the cooldown time and make it hit harder.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I really wish that the Titan, for the Striker Titan, that the Unstoppable perk came with not only reduced damage while doing your super, but with a tiny overshield as far as getting away after your super. That I think that would make that perk that much more worthwhile. It's already fairly worthwhile in some circumstances, but for PvE purposes, I think a getaway overshield would be even more important.
You think that's bad? Try being a blade dancer. You have to stay in that melee range in order to keep doing damage.
Now, as the blade dancer, my blade dancer, I don't really like to run gunslinger that much, so I typically do run blade dancer because I love to play with invisibility in PvE, and that is the one character that I do keep my strength high on because I like having that blink strike invisibility ready to go on me at any given circumstance. I really like to go invisible, go in, shotgun the hell out of some stuff, blink strike, run away is a really fun tactic.
I agree.
Here's a tip for all you blade dancers. If you have blink strike invisibility set on, you can blink strike the mines in Prison of Elders.
Ooh, that's cool.
Nice.
That's really cool. That's a good idea. Also, pro tip, and I wish I would have either been paying attention when somebody said this or had the wherewithal to just check this out. But upgrading exotic pieces of gear, ascending them to the highest level, only takes an exotic shard. And I wish I had known this. Like I just was waiting for ethereal light, and then it turns out all it takes is an exotic shard to bring it up to plus 42 if it's armor, or 365 if it's a weapon. And I wish that I had known that, because that makes life so much easier, because I've got exotic shards. I've got exotics that I can shard if I needed one. I get exotic bounties all the time. Like, I get exotic bounties like 2 or 3 a week, every week, and I just grab them and turn them down because I just don't have time to run them all. But yeah,
Don't you remember my my tutorial on how to get to level 34 in the first day?
Apparently I wasn't listening. Or I was trying to do something else, because I don't know, I watched my son do it. He was like, "Oh, I just upgraded my icebreaker," and I said, "No!" Like I wanted him to work on his armor first, because level is more important than your weapon level. And the next time my dad is on, which should have been this time, he was actually going to be on this show again tonight, but for some reason his mic wasn't working on his Skype. But I need to figure out a way to explain to him that, because he's like, "Whoa, what about my weapons? This is really important." And I'm like, "It's not as important as light level. Light level is what's going to take you into those harder missions. Then you can work on your gear." And he's like, "Nope."
Well, the main thing you need to explain to him is that for every level that you're underneath a monster that you're fighting, you're going to take, approximately 15% damage cut for that level. So if you're trying to fight a level 34 as a level 32, it doesn't matter how good your weapons are if you're taking 30% off every shot they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? And the difference between 31 and 32 is really huge. Like when we were running that Nightfall, and I just kept dying. Like, initially, I was just going to turn invisible and run around and revive you guys, and that really worked out well. But I was just taking too much incidental damage. So then, actually, that night, Agrios, I just burned all of my radiant shards on getting all of my characters up to 32, because I was thinking about it, and what am I saving all of those radiant shards for? Like, radiant shards are only good for Crota gear, right? There's nothing else that it impacts, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I was saving it all up because I wanted to see what all I got from the different packages, but then I realized, I still want to go back into Crota's End. Like, there's a bunch of gear that I still want to get. Fang of Ryu, I see people using all the time. Word of Crota seems to be something that people are very happy about getting. So I definitely want to go back in there.
Well, getting all your gear on Crota hard mode should be a lot easier now. I know you still need a Fang of Urt and whatnot, but now a level 33 Guardian with a 365 attack Galahorn drops Crota by himself with 2 shots on hard mode.
Right, that's crazy. That's crazy and awesome.
Yes, I agree.
So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to getting back in there and handling that guy, and then telling him to give us his goods, So
I bet it's almost a one-shot with a level 34.
I actually have been seeing people tweeting about that. Somebody was complaining that it took almost the whole one time to do it. So yeah, I don't know. I wonder if they're going to rebalance it at some point in the near future, just to maybe bring it in more in line. Like, maybe the 32 it was at right now was lenient in comparison to what it is now, what it should be at level 32, just so people could complete it,
Yeah, maybe. I mean, think of how easy. I mean, think of how hard Vault of Glass hard mode was when you first gained access to it, and what it's like now.
Yeah.
It was still harder to do Vault of Glass than it is to do Crota hard mode.
Agreed.
So right now, Crota even has even less of an advantage, because now you're at the level of the things you're killing.
Yeah, that's exciting. I really want Fang of Urt.
And it's going to be the same for Skolas.
Right, looking forward to that.
So,
right on. What's that?
Bungie, as I say, so Bungie wraps up talking about their PvE portion of the House of Wolves by stating that the House of Wolves has a few more secrets tucked up its sleeves. There are battles that have yet to even begin. This is kind of an interesting statement. Is there more content for House of Wolves that we haven't even given access to yet?
So I used to be like you right this second. I used to be like, oh man, they're totally talking about doing this really awesome thing. When in reality, what they're talking about is the Trials of Osiris. Like those battles haven't started yet.
I would agree.
They are not. They're not.
Oh, they're not. So
there's more
Be-
of the Prison of Elders. There's more
Remember
encounters.
Remember the little preview video of Prison of Elders?
Uh-huh.
There's a Vex boss in there.
Well, okay. So you don't think that it's going to change every week? Like
No,
because
it
what I was
is going
thinking,
to change.
It's on a rotation.
yeah,
So,
that's what
yeah.
I was thinking. Like I don't think that was what they were talking about, but that's an interesting thought. Did you have more for that, Agrios?
Not for that particular aspect. I will move on to something else when you're ready.
Also, I don't think we've seen all of the bounties for killing the different parts of the House of Wolves, like the Queen Breakers and stuff. I don't think we've seen all of those bounties just yet either.
Agreed.
So wait till next week.
Well, because it's I don't think those bounties are like I don't think those dudes just show up when the bounties are there. I think if you found them, you probably should find them, or you should be able to find them.
I actually found a Queen Breaker captain on my way to the Divide this morning on the Cosmodrome, and I got a card for that, even though I never have a bounty for it. So
Interesting.
you can find them out in the wild.
Yeah, so there's one.
So yeah, be on the lookout for other special named characters that we haven't found yet. Get your Grimoire cards. Bungie moves on to talk about the next thing in line, the Trials of Osiris, and good brother Vance. On Friday, May 22nd, at exactly 10 a.m. Bungie time, which is the West Coast, they note, the very first Trials of Osiris will begin. Twitch will be hosting a Trials of Osiris challenge. The winner will earn a cash bounty redeemable for the charity of their choosing, and the Bungie Foundation will be matching the purse. Laced Up Lauren will be fighting for Child's Play. Mrs. 5000 Watts will be fighting for Ronald McDonald House Charities. Triple Wreck will be fighting for Ark of Yates. And Fizzor will be fighting for Gamers Outreach. The games will begin as soon as Trials go live, and you have a chance to be a part of this event. They'll need opponents. Don't make this easy for them. Are you guys psyched for Trials?
I'm psyched for Trials in a couple of weeks when the pool is a little bit more matched out. Like Sharks is telling me in the chat that I need to show up for you guys. But then he's also telling Hedge that he can join you guys. I haven't played Destiny at all today. I woke up and then I had babies to feed and diapers to change, and so I haven't been on all day. And this is just, I don't know, like I imagine going up against just 34 after 34, teams of 34 after 34. And if I'm 32, and I imagine that you will be 34 by then, Agrios, because you're the man. Same thing with Sharks.
If I get enough work done tonight,
Right.
I'll get up to 34, but I'll at least be 33.
Right, so I don't want to be the thing that's holding you guys back from actually doing well, you know?
Well, also remember this is going to be the week that most people are probably going to play it.
You think so?
Mostly because it's new.
Okay, statistically, most people are not good. So
Yeah.
statistically, if you're being matched via connection, you're going to play more people who are not good than are good. That's all I have to say about that.
And as long as you're the party leader, Agrios, then we'll be going off of that.
Yeah, even better.
Too many.
Maybe I'll have to try it then. I wasn't planning on, but after thinking of that login logic, I might have to.
Remember, all you need is 3 wins and less than 4 losses.
Yep.
And a bunch of points.
Oh my God. Okay, so I wanted to say this, and I'm sad that River's gone because but I found out this last weekend that PvP is probably the most rewarding / degrading aspect of Destiny, because when you're doing really well, in PvP, it feels like you're on top of the world. Like I'm just sitting fools down like crazy, and when you're losing, it just feels like you're just so out of control, like you're not able to do this. And and so I started really trying to get into the mind of these other PvPers, and I had just gotten my heavy ammo, and so I'm waiting for dudes to run around the corner because dudes always run around the corner. And I saw this guy kind of trying to stand off to the side, and I aimed the rocket right at the corner of where he was standing, and it killed him. Like the blast radius took him out, and I turned to Velvet and I said, "Hey, you need to check this out. I just shot a rocket at a corner like this, and I shot at this other corner where I saw like one little red line on the radar, and I shot it and it killed that dude. And I said, "Oh my god, like I'm going crazy in this match." And then I saw another red slice on the radar, and I shot at these stairs, and it killed that guy too. And I think at that point I had them demoralized because I just kept taking them down. I mean, I did have Shadow Price. I'm not gonna lie, that thing does a lot of the work. But it really is amazing. It really is amazing. It's so much fun, and it's so much different than PvE. But I mean, if you're not doing well, I don't know. I could just it's the most frustrating thing. But when you're doing well, it really is walking on top of the world. I just wanted to throw that out there. If you guys have comments on that, feel free to throw them out there.
Let's stop the teabagging, guys. Let's leave that to Halo and Call of Duty.
You know what? I have not come across this yet.
I've gotten teabagged in so many matches, and it's just kind of like, really? Are we 3 years old? Like,
my favorite bit is when they're losing and they do it. It's like, come on, you're not even winning.
So the
That's
people
funny.
who are teabagging are even lamer because teabagging's like old news. The new news is you got to dance on the corpse of your enemy.
So, what do you think about that? Is that better or worse than teabagging?
Well, I'll do either, but it's definitely better.
I could take dancing over teabagging. Like seriously, in my opinion, like teabagging's a Call of Duty thing. It's a Halo thing.
Guardians have more class than that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like we came from the golden age. We're above that kind of stuff, right?
You know what? I've expected it. I've totally 100% expected it in all of the situations where I've come across where I lost to the same dude for 3 times in a row. I'm like, well, this time he's going to teabag me, you know, and it hasn't happened. And I don't know. It feels really good to not be teabagged.
I think we should start waving only because the Awoken bow.
Oh, I like that. That's kind of cool.
I mean, it's only one race that has a more dignified way of showing respect, but just waving is probably the best way to get that point across of like, GG.
I like that a lot. I might start doing that because you're right. That is kind of good game. What you got, Agrios?
Moving on, step away from the game itself. Bungie says that they're not quite ready to share the final number yet because there's more time yet to escalate it, but that we should all be proud of our collective sense of charity. The Guardians to the aid of Nepal is easily the biggest fundraising drive the Bungie Foundation has ever conducted with players of our games. The deadline, if you still want to get in on this, get your exclusive shader emblem and a pretty awesome t-shirt, as well as helping out a great cause, is Sunday, May 24th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and these shirts are available through the Bungie store. They also let us know that there's some new stuff in the Bungie store, some great new House of Wolves gear, some of it looks pretty cool, and they even have some restocks of old favorites.
Awesome.
Have you had a chance to check out any of the new gear they have over there?
I kind of skirted through it, but I don't really have like a pool of like dollars that I can throw away. But they did look really cool. Let me see if I can find a picture of those. Put it up on
I
the
like
stream.
I like the look of a lot of the Bungie gear for Destiny and whatnot. It is a little more elegant than some things. It's not just most of it's not just some generic picture of a scene from the game or something plastered on the front of the shirt which says Destiny across the top of it or something like that. They have a lot more interesting, intricate designs, like for the Trials of Osiris shirt and the Reef hoodie they have. I really like how they put little emblems in odd places and how they design their materials. I have to give them props on that.
Ooh, cool. So those watching at home, there's a picture up showing some of these. One of them, it looks like the lander, the lunar lander that landed on Mars. I think that's what that picture is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
it's
also
the first cutscene.
yeah, that was so moving. That first cutscene was so moving, and I really expected more of that in Destiny. I really expected more moments of this is absolute fact. You know, like I want to know where these people stand. Like right now, I should be able to go to the speaker, and the speaker should say to me through a cutscene that I can elect to play and see what his thoughts are. You know, where should we be focusing as Guardians? Like, hey, he should say to me that the House of Wolves are causing a lot of problems and that's where our focus lies. Like, I want to hear that from him. I want to know what he's thinking. You know, like, I understand that when you walk up, they say little bits of information, and that's cool. But I need more moments like this where it was, you know, this is a fact. These people landed. This is, you know, what happened. They got there. They see the Traveler, and it starts raining on Mars. Like, that's exciting.
I find it funny that it's like the best cutscene, and it's the only cutscene you can skip.
Right. It is the best cutscene. I don't know. We need more of that. Like, I understand that they have in place already, you know, story elements and these things, but I really want more. Like watching the Crota, the Dark Below, the thing that you can press on in the director and you can watch that movie. Same thing with the House of Wolves. Like, that's really cool. And I just need more of it. I just need more of an understanding of where everything is. Like, I don't want it to be so subjective that you can only find out what's going on by paying super close attention. Like, I want something that I can focus on and that it will give me some answers. Like, I don't want all of the answers, and I understand that much of this is going to play out over the next several years, but there should be a way of really grasping the mood. You know, what's going on? Is the speaker pissed off that people are going to this reef now? Is he totally cool with it? You know, like I'm curious to know that. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about these shirts.
I do kind of wish that Osiris Raglan shirt was a hoodie, to be honest.
And which one is that? Is that the black and gray one?
Yeah, it's the black and gray one with the Osiris sun in the middle.
You wish it was a hoodie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
wish
do
it was
too.
a
That
hoodie.
was my exact thought. I actually looked at it like, wow, that Osiris shirt's really sweet. I wish it was a hoodie like the other one.
Like the reef one.
Yeah, exactly. That was my exact thought as I looked at them earlier today. I kid you not.
Right.
I like the colors of it and stuff. It's pretty unique looking. I was definitely a fan of that one.
Yeah, and it does have like a little Osiris symbol on the shoulder as well. Which is nice.
Right on.
I'll still rep them even if they are a PvP faction.
That's cool.
So continuing on, they also noted that today Bungie Help launched a new guided support feature. This will help players walk through and troubleshoot issues on a step-by-step basis. They're still building the guided support base, and they currently just have pages for networking and Prison of Elders. This should help answer questions to new Guardians coming in. As we've gone on, we definitely have accumulated a lot of different things going on in the game. And we've all had a lot of time to learn and get these questions answered. But I could imagine for new players coming in, the amount of the sheer volume of information available on the internet and through the third party means like Reddit and Planet Destiny and other places like that is kind of overwhelming. So to have a place where players can go to get their questions clearly answered about the ways that things work, I think is going to help.
Agreed.
One problem that players have been encountering is that some players are reporting the speaker does not have the option to exchange materials.
Oh my God. Yes. I was so frustrating. You actually brought this up to me. You're like, oh, and you can exchange materials. And I ran over there, and there was nothing there. And I thought, oh, man, mine is glitching out, and I'm going to lose connection, and it's going to suck. But it turns out you have to have those things on you at the time, which I suppose makes sense. But what if I just wanted to check it out real quick? What if I was already there, and I just wanted to see what his exchange rates were? Like, they should show the exchange rates. They show everything else in this game, and until you can get it, it's grayed out. Like, I was really expecting to see all of those options grayed out. I really thought mine was broken. But yeah, you have to have your material on your character as random.
To be honest, something that I kind of would love if they hid the rewards for factions. You'd be like, oh, I can't wait to get to rank 2 to see what he has.
Oh, that is
Instead of
interesting.
showing them just how.
Yeah, so it would be like they have it now, except everything below rank 1 would be hidden if you're only rank 1.
Interesting. Very interesting. I think it would be cool if there was stuff that you could get at rank 10, at rank 50, at rank 100. Like, and this would be amazing, Jez. Like, that would be something that would push people forward. I mean, it wouldn't be long before somebody was already rank 100 in that. Like, I don't know, what was it? Hegemony said that he was like rank 150 in Cryptarch. Like, what the hell? That's crazy.
There's people that are like rank 100 in like Dead Orbit.
Yeah.
I think another thing that your idea would facilitate would be a lot more player interaction, people being interested in what other players have and what they're doing. Because, for instance, now everybody and their brother, when they sign on and go over and talk to Petrovenge, they can see the cool ship that you unlock at rank 3. Whereas if that was all hidden, no one would get to see that ship until they ran into someone who was rank 3 and was rocking that ship, and they're like, oh, check that out. And then you get to see it for the first time in the wild, and then the player who has that gets all that feedback as because they have the awesome ship, they get that feel good, like, wow, cool ship, dude.
I mean, they could stealth in these little things, like if you rank 100 with Dead Orbit, suddenly you can buy the shaders or something like that.
Totally. You know what? That would be worth it. That would be cool. Hedge says he's now rank 167. And personally, I feel like he's kind of slacking, especially with all of the, engrams that have been dropping. But you know what? That's still pretty impressive. I think that, I think that I might be rank, I don't know, 50 if I added all of my characters together. But yeah, that's a great idea. Hiding certain things behind that. Like, I don't know, like it would be cool to add like a title, like imagine it would be so worth grinding out those levels if there was something to chase other than, well, maybe this next package I'll get a shader, I don't know.
I agree. I would really like to see more involvement all around with the factions, to be honest, and that would be a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
I'd like to see even just like a faction quest where they reuse some space for a faction mission, and you complete it and you get a giant boost in your next level by completing that faction.
Agreed.
Right.
Like faction bounties, stuff like that.
Level. Yeah, just something like that would be fun. I mean, we get them in patrols, right? This is Dead Orbit, and we have a bounty on this. Or this is a new monarchy, and we need that. And it's like, well, why couldn't we maybe see an expansion of that is more inclusive of a mission that makes us feel a part of that faction a little bit more than just, hey, cool, I have your emblem on, and so I'm a part of you.
Totally. Well, I mean, okay, so I think a lot about this. I think a lot about this, and I think a lot about how implementation of something like this could happen. Because all I do is think about Destiny and hang out with my family. But I was thinking that what we're going to see in the future is something along these lines where you're going to have to make a choice, or no, you're not going to have to make a choice. You're going to want to make a choice. And I can't decide where the line is between I like discipline and strength over I think that we should be leaving the Earth and the Traveler in order to forge our own way, which is what Dead Orbit is all about. That's their things. They've got discipline and strength on their armor, and they think that the Traveler is not something that we should be using to survive. Like, they want to go into the stars and continue humanity like that. So, well, I said humanity. I guess that there's really other things, but yeah. So where is that line? Where is the line between I want these two abilities and I agree with their politics? Because really,
Okay.
I love the black and white. I love the strength and intellect, but I think that the Traveler's cool. I'm not interested in leaving the Traveler. You know, I think that, I mean, it's probably bad. Like, it's probably going to be a bad entity, and it brought all this hell upon us. It should have just left us hanging out on Earth, you know, left us alone. But I think right now the Traveler's cool. I want to hang out underneath it or somewhere adjacent to it, so in case it falls, it doesn't fall on me. But yeah, where is that line? Agrios, you had something to say about this?
Yeah, I think first off, you have to kind of take a real world approach to it and not look at it in absolutes. But you basically the ranks to actually get gear and things, get this gear you're concerned about having access to, are very, very, very low. I mean, it does not take a dedicated player long to get rank 3 in any or all of his different factions. So just like real life, you don't necessarily need to like a certain group of people. Like, I don't know, you might hate hippies, but in your town, the best tree farm in town, or the only tree farm in town's owned by a bunch of hippies. So if you want to get some trees from these hippies, they might say, well, we need you to do these tasks or pay us this much money to gain our favor to buy these trees from us. So you work with these people in real life that you may not necessarily agree with everything they have to say in order to get something from them. So that's the way you be working with these factions in order to still maintain getting the gear. Just because that group specializes in making gear that's good at that doesn't mean you need to support their politics, that group 100%, to make use of their craftsmanship.
Totally. I see what you're saying. And okay, so then the next thing happens is, because I can totally imagine there being this, like, a faction war, right? Like, where you represent a faction and you go into some kind of crucible, and whoever won the most, whatever faction had the most victories for that week or that month or whatever, that was some kind of recognized in game. So I want Dead Orbit's gear and I want their shaders, but when it comes time, I want to be part of Future War Cult. But I'm wearing all of this gear, and they made it really difficult to not know who that gear came from. I swear I have a pair of Titan pants that has FWC on the butt. Like, it's like,
Yeah,
what is this?
The new ones are super advertising.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? It's like Adidas. you know when people are wearing Adidas, But yeah, so I see what you're saying, Agrios, and I absolutely agree. But yeah, I just don't want my new Monarchy gear. Can I give it to River? He totally wants it. Wouldn't that be sweet? A gifting service. Well, real money traders.
So, Remy, have you hung around Brother Vance lately?
He kind of creeping me out. He never really looks me directly in the eyes, and I feel like that's kind of disrespectful. What was it that you're talking about?
You're saying that he doesn't look you in the eyes. He's actually blind.
Oh, well, there it is.
But
This is
but
why I
one of the-
didn't say this directly to him. You know, like I don't know what his situation is, but I know to steer clear.
But one of the things that he says is, Guardian, what would you do if you found out the speaker was a charlatan?
Interesting.
I'll let you soak that one in.
I've been certain that he was a rotten apple from the very beginning, from the moment they even showed him in the in those trailers leading up to the release. He looked shady to me, like, and that goes back to that not looking me in the eyes. Like he's got this face mask on, you
Now,
know.
to be honest, the Osiris gathering of people, it seems to be the Osiris gathering of people is more of a question everything type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't take it into too much theory, but it is interesting.
Yeah, how does the speaker get to be speaker? I'm going to do some lore research here. Who makes the speaker the speaker? Did this guy just be like, oh, the traveler's talking to me tonight? Oh, I hear the traveler. I'm the speaker now. Or
Right.
like, was he elected? Did the traveler pick him and make it clear that he picked him? Like, how did the traveler make it clear that he picked him?
Or
as
did he
speaker?
come from the speaker or come from the traveler? We don't know.
Right?
Exactly.
Or
See,
Curious.
he would explain it, but
he doesn't have time.
Well, when
No.
you've been ruling a ship that takes people to the afterlife for thousands of years, you've got to rule people somehow.
There it is. That's another thing I was thinking. What if he just outlived everybody who came before him, and this whole new group of people know him as this? He just outlived all the people who didn't believe in him. That's kind of the way.
I'm just making a quip that it's Bill Nighy who was Davy Jones.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
But-
As what's that?
Oh, just go ahead.
As randomly says, Crucible game types are already sponsored in the Crucible, like Control Skirmish. Oh, sponsored by factions. He says, yes, and this is true, but there is no way of seeing like what's going on with that. Like, sure, Dead Orbit, is sponsoring this one, but I don't see any like which one is more popular. I don't see any like what does that mean. Like I understand that that's what's going on, but I don't see any end results. There doesn't appear to be any progress, and that's what I'm talking about. Like which faction is the most enjoyed? Like which faction is the one that most people want to hang out with? I'd love to know that. I would love to know which faction is the most popular.
I could almost guarantee that if they're going to go by the ranks put into it by people, it's going to be Dead Orbit. Everybody wants that freaking Revenant shader.
Yeah, but there's a ton of people who aren't interested in giving up that intellect boost. Like, and as a matter of fact, that's the way I felt about Dead Orbit in the first place. I was like, oh, strength and discipline, huh? Not going to go with those guys. But
No,
then,
I was saying if you're going to base it on how many ranks people have put into, how much reputation people have earned toward it, that doesn't have anything to do with whether you want to use the discipline strength armor or not. You had access to that at rank 3.
okay, so where are you getting this information?
I'm speculating that
Okay, I see what you're saying.
so many people on the internet that that avidly want the Revenant shader, and I know so many people that have seen statements, this many, 100 and whatever ranks in Dead Orbit, still no shaders at all, let alone Revenant, that there's so many people on the hunt for this Revenant shader that I would easily bet money that there's more total ranks put into Dead Orbit than any of the other factions. Now, if you want to talk about whose gear is rocked by Guardians the most, or how total time class items for that particular faction have been worn by Guardians, then you might get into others competing. But if you're just going to talk about ranks put in by reputation earned, I would lay my money on Dead Orbit.
Okay, that's what I was waiting for, was the qualifier that's what you would put your money on. Because
Yeah, that's why I did ranks the very first time. Ranks, based on ranks.
Because More Console and also our very own River, they're way New Monarchy. Like that's where they are putting their time. So it's not impossible to think that these other ones are. I mean, I don't know who would go with Future War Cult with the pastel colors that they use. I was so excited about Future War Cult in the very beginning. And for some reason, those colors just don't translate well onto armor. I really want to like it too, but I got this Future War Cult helmet for my Titan, and it's just kind of gross. Just kind of gross. Oh my goodness! And the Dead Orbit helmet for the Titan has like a giant bullseye right on the right on the faceplate. Like, talk about lining it up for dudes to headshot you.
No, I don't really like logos in real life. Like, I don't really rock too many things with like blatant logos on them or anything like that. So I feel the same way about my Destiny characters. Like, I can't see me getting any of the faction gear for even the characters that support that particular faction. I'd rather wear more interesting things that I found elsewhere, in my opinion, like, Vault of Glass armor or other things. I actually have some legendaries I rather like from the very, very beginning of the game, like the Vanguard. I think for my Warlock, the Neradril Savant, something like that.
Neradril Savant.
I really like the one set of like leather-looking robes that I have from the beginning of the game, and I think I would opt to ascend something like that before I bought any of this new logo-ridden faction gear. And as far as my characters go, I have each of my characters supporting. Each one supports a different faction. My Warlock's Dead Orbit, my Titan's New Monarchy, and my Hunter is Future War Cult.
Yeah, that's cool too. So we are coming up on the end of the show rapidly, and there's still so much to talk about. I wanted to go over our favorite perks. I wanted to go over like what's Xur gonna be like tonight. Like, I'm really hoping that he sells keys or ethereal light. I mean, I doubt it, because that would end the drive to complete those things. Do you have anything else that needs to go out really quickly?
No, very quickly, I want to mention the movie of the week, because I like to give the community some press on that. They put on a very interesting display. We'll just leave it at that. It's worth a watch. Maybe skip ahead to the video mark they tell you to when you go to watch that.
Okay, just really quickly here before we do the shout-outs, I wanted to point out that Jez put in the chat, it says the grimoire for the disciples of Osiris make it seem like the trials are a test to see if we are ready to know the truth about the traveler / the speaker. Quote, go to the reef, tell guardians your story, give passage to any guardian that requests it. If the tower learns of this, do not fear. If they know of the trials, the tower will not suspect your other motive for dwelling so close to the margins between light and dark. That's awesome. I want to talk more about that next week, but we gotta go. We gotta do shout-outs. So,
Not to
Agrios.
mention, next week we'll be able to find out what the other Trials of Osiris card says.
Oh, yes, and we'll also know about Xur. All right, so Agrios.
I'm going to shout out to all the Guardians working their way to level 34 out there, particularly the guys who completed the level 35 first. Shout out for them for taking that out quick.
Excellent. Jez.
Shout out to Petra because she's a boss.
You're a
so
boss.
much. She's so much interesting to hear during the first story missions. Just she's so excited
I agree.
compared to Eris, anyways.
Right, well, she would spend too much time with the Hive. Crimson Warlock is muted. Crimson Warlock is muted.
Sorry. I'm going to shout out to Artistic 33 and his clan, the Revelation of Guardian, because they're awesome. I've played a lot with them the last couple of days. They've been on when I've been on, and I've done a lot of House of Wolves stuff with them. They're a great group of players, fun to be with. So keep on rocking, Guardians.
Excellent. And my shout out is to my dad, who was supposed to be here tonight. I was really looking forward to the additional things he had to say. Like, we played Prison of Elders level 28, and he had just so much interesting stuff to say. I'm sad that he didn't get a chance to come here and say it. But that wraps up episode 41. I would like to thank everyone listening for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any questions or suggestions for topics to be discussed on the show, please leave them in the comments below or send them to feedback@guardian1.net, and we will see you next week.